Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. I'm super excited you're here. Today, we're unpacking something literally foundational to, well, human history, our current daily lives, and our future. We're looking at the way Earth's natural wealth shapes basically everything around us. It's so easy to take the physical world for granted, right? Just assuming the ground beneath our feet and the air we breathe are static backdrops to our lives. But today, we're going to completely transform how you see the world by exploring natural resources and their global distribution.
All right, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We're covering 5 main areas: defining our natural wealth, renewable versus non-renewable, the geography of resources, exploitation and global conflict, and finally, the path to conservation. Simple as that. Let's get going.
Kicking things off with Section 1, defining our natural wealth. Seriously, what actually makes something a resource?
I want you to pause for a sec. Look at yourself. Look at the screen you're using to watch this explainer. Maybe look at your shirt. Where did all this stuff actually come from? If you trace it back far enough, literally everything leads back to nature. I mean, even that tiny plastic button on your collar, that started as petroleum deep underground. We are totally, inextricably tied to the physical Earth. The scale of our planet is just mind-blowing. The Earth holds treasures that took millions of years to form. Just think about this. It can take 50 million years, 50 million, of intense geological heat and pressure just to squeeze out a single drop of crude oil. We've got the obvious stuff like water, air, and soil, but also hidden gems like metal ores and fossil fuels. But here's the catch. A piece of nature isn't automatically a resource just because it exists out there in the wild.
The crucial point here is that an element of nature only becomes a resource when we get involved. It's completely a function of human activity. To make the cut, it has to hit 3 criteria. First, it's got to be technologically accessible. If there's a pocket of petroleum 3 miles under the ocean floor and we can't drill that deep, not a resource yet. Second, it has to be economically feasible to actually get it out of the ground. And third, culturally acceptable. Like sure, a forest might have valuable timber, but if it's a sacred grove to the local community, cutting it down is a no-go. It stays untouched nature, not a commercial resource.
Moving right along to Section 2, renewable versus non-renewable. Let's categorize our limits. So there's obviously a massive contrast here. On one hand, you've got renewable resources, solar, wind, timber, stuff that replenishes pretty fast. Solar is practically limitless. Though, quick side note, careless human habits can absolutely still wreck things like soil and water, so we're not totally off the hook. On the flip side, we have non-renewable resources. These have a strict, hard limit. Once they're gone, they take literal geological eras to come back. We're talking coal, petroleum, iron, copper, the heavy hitters.
To put that non-renewable reality into a shocking perspective, grab onto this number: 50 years. Current estimates suggest that India's coal reserves, which, by the way, meet a massive chunk of the country's booming energy demands, might only last for roughly another 50 years. That's it. That is well within a single human lifetime. When you map it out, the mismatch in pacing is frankly terrifying. Think about it. Nature takes millions of years to brew fossil fuels deep underground. Humans come along, and in just a few centuries of rapid industrialization, we become completely dependent on them. And now we're looking at mere decades before those reserves are totally tapped out. It absolutely highlights why we need to transition to renewable substitutes and use what we have very, very carefully.
Okay, let's jump to Section 3, the geography of resources. It is essentially the ultimate geographic lottery.
So why is everything so unequally distributed across the planet? It really boils down to 3 physical factors. You've got terrain, which dictates if you can physically get to the minerals and good soil. You've got climate, controlling water and where forests can actually thrive. And you've got altitude, which shifts the ecological variations. Because these 3 things differ so wildly depending on where you're standing, resources are scattered totally unevenly across the globe.
And this geographic lottery is way more than just a fun trivia fact. It's the core driver of human progress. It dictates where cities pop up, it shapes massive international trade routes. Historically, for instance, India's unique geography mixed with specific human skills gave us Wootz steel, which literally fueled the rise of vast empires. But on the flip side, this uneven distribution is also the absolute biggest driver of international tension and conflict.
Which brings us right into Section 4, exploitation and global conflict, the dark side of this wealth.
History paints a pretty clear, harsh picture here. Rich resources in foreign lands were essentially giant magnets for colonizing empires. They'd roll in, use their superior technological edge, and just exploit the local resources.
But here's the real takeaway. Just having raw materials lying around doesn't make a region developed. True resource development takes human knowledge, strong institutions, and technological skill. Without those things, being resource-rich just puts a massive target on your back.
It's a really dangerous domino effect. Let's trace it. Step 1. Humans go in and rapidly deplete resources just to satisfy the greed of a few people. Step 2. That wealth pools in a few hands, splitting society right down the middle into the haves and the have-nots. Step 3. All that reckless exploitation triggers massive global ecological crises. We're talking global warming, ozone depletion, severe land degradation, the whole shebang. It's a complete systemic failure.
But hey, we aren't helpless. Let's look at Section 5, the path to conservation, a survival imperative.
Listen, conservation isn't just some feel-good buzzword about hugging trees. It is a literal survival imperative. We are just one tiny part of a massive ecological web. Conservation is what preserves our basic life support systems, the plants that clean our air, the microorganisms filtering our water. It also maintains genetic diversity. Think about that for a second. Our entire global food supply, from agriculture to fisheries, relies entirely on rich biological diversity. If that web snaps, well, we fall right along with it.
So fixing this requires a two-pronged approach. First, you have local communities sharing knowledge, like tribal women sustainably collecting minor forest produce. Then on the other side, you've got scientists making massive technological breakthroughs. What do they have in common? They're both human resources. Remember how we said human involvement is what turns nature into a resource? It's going to take both grassroots community cooperation and high-level scientific innovation to actually manage our planet's gifts sustainably. I want to share this really beautiful Lepcha folk song from our source material. It goes, "O Narak, my lord, let me dedicate myself to you. Let me gather your music from the springs, the rivers, the mountains, the forests, the insects, and the animals." It's just a stunning reminder of the harmony we can, and absolutely have to, find with the biodiversity around us. We don't just have to be extractors, we can actually be stewards.
Which leaves us with a really big, vital question. What actions can you take today to make sure that a renewable resource doesn't become non-renewable tomorrow? Because remember, even stuff like water and soil can be ruined by our own careless actions. I highly encourage you to rethink your daily consumption and recognize that every single thing you use is tied to this giant geographic lottery we call Earth. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep questioning everything, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. For daily APPSC Group 2 study material and updates, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon.